During this worldwide economic downturn, it seems like the term hyperinflation has been kicked around a little bit more than usual. History gives us several examples of hyperinflation, but could it happen here? The global recession is nearing the 2-year mark, and during this time, countries have been using various mechanisms to stimulate their economies, and that includes raising or printing money to add to the monetary supply to, in theory, stimulate spending.
Hyperinflation kicks in when inflation goes over 50% per year. Inflation happens when governments print too much money.
That's one of the reasons Zimbabwe experienced hyperinflation. The country printed too much money and diluted its currency. But that came after a policy instituted by President Robert Mugabe that essentially seized large white-owned farms, destroying the country's main source of revenue, agriculture.
Nothing was being produced, and so an ever-increasing amount of money was chasing an ever-decreasing amount of goods and services.
Eventually, Mr. Mugabe's policies brought about a shortage of basic commodities, runaway inflation, even hyperinflation, and the destruction of Zimbabwe's economy. Today, governments around the world are injecting money into their economies in efforts to make their budgets and stimulate an economy with money they don't have. And no one is injecting more money into their economy than the world's largest. So, is the U.S. on the verge of hyperinflation?
I don't believe that hyperinflation is on the horizon. The government's effort to stimulate the economy was pretty much to replace the consumer spending that didn't exist. And so it's not a double whammy effect. It's just replacing what should have been there but was not.
The total U.S. debt is 80% of the gross domestic product. And one of the most outspoken critics of the U.S. government's spending and monetary habits is former presidential candidate, Congressman Ron Paul.
The only thing left, since we're not producing anything, our good jobs have gone overseas, we don't build cars anymore, the only thing left is just creating money out of thin air. And that, to me, is a very dangerous policy.
American University economist Stephen Cohen has a different opinion.
Inflation is simply not one of my concerns now. Why don't we have a problem, at least in my view, for the foreseeable future? Whereas, yes, we are printing money, we still have an enormous amount of underutilized resources, be it labor, be it factory output.
Hyperinflation will end up being a wait-and-see cliche, but the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says this country's monetary policy is on an unsustainable path, and the accumulation of debt at the current pace will harm the country if not reversed. I'm Philip Alexio, VOA News.